Hi, and welcome back to the channel, my fellow miners of the scripture. Just a quick heads up, this will be the only video today. I've got a meeting with my priest, so I'm going to be touching on those other two videos that I was telling you about, which I'm excited to do, right? And so today's one is "Get Behind Me, Satan." Yeah, I'm sure we all know a few Bible verses that, highlight this common theme, right? But with the thumbnail, as you can see, walking in that fire, walking through the valley of the shadow of death, right? You fear no evil because God is with you. So today I'm going to touch on a few important Bible verses. I'm sure there are many, right? But to me, these are very powerful Bible verses which link to my thumbnail and how we can simply draw closer to God, depending on Him, understanding that we are nothing but a tender plant, and it is through us acknowledging God that He actually exalts us. Like, and He says to Satan in some sort of way, you see, these people trust me, and through trusting, because I actually love them, I create them, I give them what they want. Now obviously, talking about the fall of Satan is a whole other topic, and all his iniquity, and if we try and think about it, his pride, right? So how can our pride get in the way of our blessings? How can our pride get in the way of God's power actually showcasing in our lives, and Him actually either speaking to us or, again, showing He's alive with us? We're going to touch on the first Bible reading by Matthew chapter 16, verse 23, which is parallel to Mark chapter 8, verse 33. And here is where Jesus reveals His coming and suffering of death, right? Peter, out of love, right? I'm sure we all know this one. He responds, and he says, "Never, Lord, this will never happen to you." But then Jesus sharply responds, "Get behind me, Satan." Revealing that even though he has one intentions, right? But Satan was using this to actually get Jesus to not fulfill his destiny. Because if Jesus was still a man, right, then he did understand what it means to be a human, to go through these temptations of hunger and desires. But Satan knew that all he had to do is get Jesus to not do what he's supposed to do, just like us, to get us distracted, and then and in a sense giving up what God has in store for us. And so again, like, Satan can use our friends and family to attack us. God. And in our next Bible verse from James chapter 4, verse 7, submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So similar to what I was saying in the previous verse, right? If we break it down into practicality, the first step is to humble yourself, submit to God, right? Like Jesus submitted to the fact that He is now human, and He is living a human life to prove to us that we can be perfect for God. And when we die for ourselves, we live for God, and He gives us our heart's desires. So when we resist, then we are able to flee, because we actually understand what the devil is trying to do. And maybe this is another topic also where we can identify, but I'm sure we can identify already, right? If we know that God doesn't want us to steal and to kill, to be adulterous and to give false evidence, and the enemy wants us to do that, then okay, that's how we can understand what God doesn't want us to do, And so we can identify when Satan tries to, actually get in our heads, and then which gets in our heads affects our heart and our posture, because now we think, forget about it. And that's what we usually do, right? We just, forget about it tomorrow. And that's what Satan wants for you to give it up and then just die another day. But we're actually wasting our own time, right? We're wasting opportunity for our blessings to come sooner than later. And so when we look at Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10 to 12, right? And so we put on the armor of God. We like, what is the point of faith? We have evidence. What is the point of love if everyone wants to get something out of everyone? You know what I'm saying? When we put on the armor of God, right? And I will just have a picture here with the armor of God. When we put these things on, then we can understand how we can counteract the negativity. You know what I'm saying? Which is called the soldier's song, which promises security, promises the dwelling place of the Lord and refuge within him. And the key features here again is the eagle's wings, the Lord covering us, protecting us, shielding us, right, from any snare or any attack or any arrow or any widespread destruction. Even when evil is visible, the one who trusts in God sees that he sees the wicked pursuit of who he actually is, who we actually are. So when we shift our focus, right, to confidence, trust instead of fear, we then raise ourselves up brick by brick and allowing God's power to rest on us. Or satisfy the natural physical body, that you need, money and food and sleep and shelter. But when the Lord came and he showed him and he revealed himself to him, he still didn't believe. And then yet he betrayed him. But even so, through that, the Lord gave him opportunities to be forgiven. And there are orthodox views and other views, right, that say that when Judas hung himself, that the tree that he hung himself actually touched the ground so that God can save him. But he felt in his heart, because of what he did, he cannot, come again to the Lord. And this is powerful, don't you think? We sometimes flee away from God because we feel like we cannot see his face because we've done him so wrong. But the Lord wants us to understand that he forgives us, It's okay, because we are also just trying, right? It's our first time living on earth. When we can discern and then reject satanic influence of this world and submit to God and resist and stand firm with the arm of God, right? We dwell in His protection. Until next time, see you in the next one.